Well, on Wednesday, remember we brought you the heartbreaking story of Ibrahim Baya, otherwise known as IB, the young aspiring model who was allegedly linked by a mob in Jos over an accusation of stealing a mobile phone. We spoke with one of his close friends who gave us a first-hand account of the events leading to his death and the efforts to ensure those responsible are brought to justice. But beyond IB's tragic death lies a much broader conversation. What does the Nigerian law say about jungle justice? Why do these incidents continue despite existing laws? And what is the problem? And is the problem only the mob, or has society itself become complicit? Well, our guest this morning has stirred debate with an article titled "The Society Killed Ibrahim Baya," in which he argues that responsibility extends beyond those who carried out the attack. Well, interestingly, we hear that the police have arrested the four suspects in the case, but let's get more into the legal dimension of this particular story. We're joined this morning by Latunde Olainka Damilola, Esquire, human rights lawyer. Barrister, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good pleasure to be.
All right. Well, we're having some holes on the audio. I believe our engineers are on top of that. But I mean, let's kickstart the conversation. You had put together an article titled "The Society Killed IB Mbaya." I mean, most people will blame the four suspects who are now in police custody, the ones who lifted, the planks and hit him repeatedly. We understand they have started beating him from about 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. or thereabout. But you've chosen to put the society itself on trial. Can you tell us what informed, the choice of the title of that article and where you have chosen to, put responsibility on?
Okay, thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here once again. So, the reason why I decided to write that article, putting the blame on the society, is simply because I have this evaluation of events. I mean, the course of events leading to the period when IB was murdered by the mob. It happens that the society started engaging in what I call the individuation, where we started making it look like once the person has been maybe caught or apprehended for a certain offense or a certain crime, or once the person is suspected of stealing, that it is actually okay to go on to, manhandle those persons, beat them and batter them. And this actually became a social trend in the past few weeks when you go on social media that you see videos of, of persons being beaten, persons being forced to dance, after they have been caught or alleged of stealing an item or stealing something. And then you see people actually encouraging those posts, on social media. When you go into the comment section, some of the popular comments you'll find there are people saying 2026 is the year of the owner, that 99 days for the thief, 2026 is the year of the owner. You see people saying things like, you will find out that once you have been caught for stealing, you have an hidden talent. And those statements actually continue to encourage the act because I think the society started deriving a very callous tone from what is being done to this person, which is not right. And that gave a mentality to people to, feel like this is the right thing to do, especially since those who were in the video they were not punished, and those who were in the comment section were encouraging it. It gave this idea that it's the proper thing to do, or it is something that is not punishable, and that was what led to IB's death. Because when I watched some of the videos that were trending online, that showed what IB went through, it is really, really disheartening. It is really, really disheartening to say that. But the guy who was actually recording that video continued making the statement that the 99 days for the thief, this is my 2026 is the year of the owner. And that is a quote that has been trending. So I feel like the persons who killed Ivy were not only trying to do it just because they wanted to get at Ivy, but because they are also trying to join an existing trend. a very, very ample trend on social media. And that was why they kept going on and on and on just to ensure that they get enough video of the event and so that they can be able to post it on the internet and gain traction. And had it been that IB did not die from that incident, we would not have come to the reality that this thing is actually getting terrible. Because it was IB's death now that led to the outcry, and people started saying that, oh, there is wrong in this. But if you look at the period before IB's death, those videos get reposted, reshared on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and people started feeling like this is the right thing to do. So I believe the society encouraged the activity up until the time of IB's death. And now that IB is dead, we are now trying to correct it. So I believe the society itself should actually be put on trial for IB's death and not just the persons who are involved. And also, we are already starting a campaign. For my firm now, we have started rolling out campaigns that jungle justice is not the way to go, and you should not encourage it by any means. You should not be a partaker. You should not record the videos. You should not have it online. So if the society can do better by discouraging the act, then I believe we will not have IB's incident happen again.
Thank you very much. What you have spoken to almost seems like it's now a culture. But like for every culture, there is some sort of there's a list of factors that gives rise to such. I mean, people didn't just start doing this. Something must have led to the society now feeling like they should take responsibility for punishing an alleged offender. But I mean, the laws of the country are very clear, especially Section 36, which guarantees the right to a fair hearing and presumes an accused person is innocent until proven guilty. Unless maybe some people do not know this, but let's assume that a lot of people have this understanding. So if Nigerians know that, look, when you catch somebody who has been alleged to commit a crime, you have to give him fair hearing. The first thing to do is not to start beating the person. But still, we have these mob actions going on in spite of this knowledge. What does that say about the respect that we have for the rule of law?
Yeah. Thank you. As you rightly quoted, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria guarantees fair hearing to every individual, regardless of the crime for which they are alleged. As a matter of fact, 36 of 5 provide the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. And I believe that it is not because the society are not aware of the rule of law. I also believe that it is because sometimes law enforcement agencies have involved in activities or have created some certain circumstances that has caused the society to doubt their effectiveness to actually bring persons alleged of a crime to justice. And I believe this is one of the backdrop to this whole issue of jungle justice coming on board because, I was privileged to speak with engage with an individual over the weekend. And then he mentioned something. He said there are times that you arrest an alleged criminal or somebody who is alleged to have committed a crime and you take them to the police station. And by the time you come back the following day, the police have granted them the and not ready to charge them to court. So I believe that is the point where the society maybe started feeling that they need to take laws into their hands. And as a matter of fact, I think that there's this social media meme I once saw that said that once the police arrive, the thieves or the alleged thief actually feel safer than with the people. And it ought not to be so. The law enforcement agent also ensure that when persons are arrested of an alleged crime, they ought to be charged to court and allowed to defend themselves. And where we see people who are actually involved in
Hello, barrister?
crime being convicted, I mean, within in society's confidence in the justice system. And to have something quickly, rather than involving in jungle justice, it is my advice to people that once you get somebody who is allegedly involving in a crime and you take them to the law enforcement agent, you can also hire the service of a lawyer to watch and follow up the process at the law enforcement agent office. So that way, you can be guaranteed that the process of law will take its due course against that person. So jungle justice is never the way to go. It is never the way to go because if we keep on doing that, we'll surely have more incidents than I. Thank you.
You know, there is one strong argument that you made in your article, which you have also reiterated in the course of our conversation, that people who film and repost and even celebrate videos of jungle justice, they help fuel the next attack. Right. Legally speaking, they are merely spectators. Would you say they could also bear criminal responsibility for encouraging the crime? Also, in this particular case, there is the argument that we would not have even known that, you know, somebody was beaten and up to the point that he died if there were not people recording. Second argument to that fact is the fact that we had spoken to a close friend of IB earlier in the week, and she told us that some of the people who were videoing tried to intervene, but the people who were doing the beating said they would beat them as well if they tried to intervene. So, I mean, how do you unpack all of this?
Okay, thank you. When it comes to recording incidents of jungle justice, I would say that the law does not specifically create a crime or punish that act. Just like you said, there are two ways to judging them. There are some who are trying to record just to ensure that there is evidence, and that is the reason why the law enforcement agency has something to work with now in their investigation. But then there are also others who are recording, because they enjoy the act and they are trying to jump on a trend. And I was privileged to see one of those videos where the person recording was actually making encouraging comments, that they should keep on, torturing him. And at the point where they were trying to hang him on the pole, the person was even giving them directions, okay, hold his leg, do that, and do this. So in the end, we cannot say that recording the video is bad, but where the challenge is or where the problem is posting those videos with the intent of encouraging jungle justice or with the intent of encouraging self-help. So in situations like that, I believe persons who post the video for the purpose of encouraging self-help can actually be charged of a crime. And when those videos are being circulated online, they tend to lead to insurrection. They tend to, their acts are capable of threatening the peace of the society. And the criminal code has special provisions that create these crimes and cover situations like this. Then for those who are in the comment section as well, persons who comment and drop statements like, "Oh, what they are doing to the thief is very, very all right. This is the best way to go when a person is being alleged of a crime." These persons can also be punished under the criminal code. These persons can also be tried and convicted of a crime because indirectly they are contributing to the act. They are actually encouraging people to keep on doing things that are not in conformity with the law. So I believe they have a criminal liability under the law and especially under the criminal code. So I would just say in totality that the video recording is not the problem, but videos that are recording jungle justice should not be, circulated online for the purpose of creating traction or creating a trend. So that is what my position is. That is what my argument is.
And there are Nigerians who will say if we hand the suspect over to the police, they will be released before nightfall. To that, you had said we should hire the services of a lawyer. But you know that lawyers don't come cheap. Where does the law draw the line between public frustration and outright criminality? Some people would say, look, if we engage in jungle justice, we're serving justice, let me use the Nigerian parlance, as it is hot. But when you go through the route of employing the services of a lawyer or involving the police, it's now a whole roller coaster that eventually some people have not ended up getting justice at the end of the day.
Well, it is quite unfortunate that justice system can sometimes prove at times frustrating to people who want justice. And as a lawyer, there are times when we'll be handling the case of a client, and then the client should just expect everything to be concluded probably in a week, in 1 month, in 2 months, and then we are still there for a year. And that is one of the challenges that comes with the condition of our courts. And that is why I also advocate for a form of maybe ADR when it comes to criminal matters. come up. Instead of us going to the magistrate court and the high court, probably special courts to be created for certain crimes to decongest the court. And when it comes to procuring the service of the lawyer, the truth is, hiring a lawyer might not come cheap because these are persons who offer professional services, and we are also expected to charge for this service. But nonetheless, there are public interest lawyers like myself and a few lawyers that if you reach out to and you tell them that, oh, this thing has been happening or there's a crime that just happened and we need a lawyer to follow up that can handle those matters pro bono. Also, we have a legal aid council that provides lawyers. So they can also reach out to legal aid counsel to provide them a lawyer. So in all, I do not believe that we can have any right excuse or any justifiable circumstance to encourage jungle justice or as an argument in favor of jungle justice. Because I believe that the damnation of jungle justice comes from the fact that it is possible for an innocent person to actually be killed or to actually be maimed, when they are actually totally innocent of what they have been accused of without being given the chance. And when it comes to the mobs are not ready to listen to anything. There are people that are even in the mob action that do not know how it started. They do not even know what the person had allegedly stolen. They just want to be part of the activity, just to beat the person that's been caught. And that reminds me of the Harlem 4 incident, which happened some couple of years ago, where we had four boys, four boys at that time, who are maimed and killed, and it was eventually found out by the panel of inquiry that they were not thieves. So situations like this brings us back to the reality that no matter how frustrating the court system can be, it is still the proper way to go. It's still the legal way that's been provided, and no shortcut should be taken as in the law. Because we're all going to get burned. That is what the truth. We're all going to get burned. So it is better that we try to follow due process and ensure that persons who are alleged of the crime are given the chance to defend themselves, granted fair hearing, and if eventually they are convicted, fine. So I believe that is just the proper way to.
And can you speak to what your recommendations would be? Because time and time again, you've reiterated the fact that when you see comments online, there seems to be a culture of encouragement for this kind of acts to go on. And it appears the law as it is. Would you say there's a provision that punishes or addresses those who are supporting, who are encouraging this kind of act? Or should we also be considering drafting some sort of legislation in view of where the world is at the moment digitally?
Yes, thank you. Actually, there are currently laws that criminalize acts like encouraging jungle justice. And then I think one of it is the laws on the breach of public peace, because when your comment is capable of breaching public peace, you can be punished for that. But nonetheless, I think it is my recommendation that we should have a specific law on jungle justice. We should have a specific law that is created towards prohibiting jungle justice, towards prohibiting self-help. Also, I believe that the Cybercrime Act should probably be amended to also include specific provision against the encouragement of jungle justice or self-help on social media. And I believe this is going to improve, the discouraging of the heart so that we do not have incidents of jungle justice happening over and over again. Also, I believe that we need to have a successful prosecution in IB states. The police should ensure that persons who are caught are brought to book, because that is the only way we can be able to ensure that it does not happen again. So if at the end of the day this process is allowed to go long and long and long and long, the society are going to be justified once again. And would have also, because I read the comment section and I saw some persons who are saying the persons that are caught should be beaten. I think Bobrisky even made a post, if I'm not incorrect, saying that what prison are those guys going to be placed in? She wants to pay some persons to beat them. So the society right now does not have any hope in the justice system. So I am also I would recommend that the justice system do better to ensure that persons who involve in jungle justice are brought to book, and that once that is done, people will be discouraged from going further, from encouraging the act any further. So those are my recommendations.
Well, let me also paint a little bit of a scenario as to also ask you in the immediate what can be done. Now, situations where we've had these mob actions, the situation always moves from 0 to 100 in seconds. So someone is caught and then all it takes is one slap, one knock on the head, and then blows and kicks are coming from left, right, center. For you and I, we probably may be enlightened to the point that we know that this is wrong. But it might just be two of us in a crowd of 20, 50 people, who are looking to met out jungle justice. What can enlightened citizens do when their voices and their strength is obviously not enough to convince the mob that, look, jungle justice is not the way to go?
Yeah, thank you. Well, going by your scenario, if we're just the two enlightened citizens in the midst of a mob, I do not think it is totally advisable for you to jump in
Mm.
because mobs are very irate. That is what and they are not going to be ready to listen to what you're trying to do. There have been situations of people trying to intervene and they get accused of being a part
Yeah, they
of the
become
crime.
victims too.
Yes, they become victims too. So I believe the best thing to do in that situation is to actually call the police, reach out to the nearest police station so that the police can come there and be on ground in time. Also, I believe the Nigerian police force should try to create a rapid response team that responds to reports of jungle justice or self-help happening everywhere, anywhere. They should not use the excuse of, oh, there's no petrol in the car or there's no fuel in the car because I just want to mention this in passing. Something happened to me about 3 weeks ago. There was series of gunshots in my environment, and then I reached out to the DP of a certain station and called him and told him that, oh, this is happening, and he said, oh, his boys will be on the way. If these boys are getting to my street now, probably they will get there tomorrow because until now they did not show up. So I believe the Nigerian police force should improve when it comes to responding to distress calls. That because that is the only way that this person can be stopped. And when the police are ground, I believe they will have ways to dispatch riot and be able to save the victim of the jungle justice.
All right. Well, finally, before we let you go, if because I mean the foundation for this whole conversation, sadly, is Ibrahim Baya's death. If it is actually going to mean something, because honestly, we do not wish for these kind of things to keep happening. What is the one legal or institutional reform that you believe would significantly put an end to jungle justice in Nigeria?
Okay. One thing I would say to persons who are victims of jungle justice, even though some members of the society might not necessarily agree, is that once a person has been alleged of a crime and is being beaten by a mob, the alleged person should, notwithstanding that maybe a criminal matter is going on or maybe he has been left alone, institute action for the enforcement of its fundamental human rights. Because as a matter of fact, mob actions violate fundamental human rights of the persons of the victim involved, and it violates their right to dignity of human person. As a matter of fact, in this case, unfortunately now, it violates their right to life. And so they can actually get restitution by instituting civil actions against persons who are involved in those activities. I know it might be hard to pick everybody in the mob, but there might be specific persons who can actually be targeted with those actions. Probably the person who let out the first cry and mobilize the mob down to leading to those attacks. So I believe that is the existing restitution mechanism that we have in remedying self-help or jungle justice.
All right. I want to thank you so much indeed for your time with us on the program this morning. Olatunde Olayinka Damilola Esquire, human rights lawyer. Thank you so much. And I'd like to also appreciate you for all of the cases you've taken up pro bono in the search for justice in Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you.